Kakashi with the two Sharingans.
Yeah, he wasn't that old.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck is this
Or he,
timeline?
or he might be 26.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Irbal Sinergy's The Shop. I am your host, Sinji. With me, my co-host, Irby. I like the extra
What's up,
womp.
people?
What's up, Herb?
Yeah, I had to, do a little different flavor
Speaking
for
of
the people.
flavors,
Something different.
something different.
Yeah.
Out here being zesty.
Zesty.
Bro,
Yeah,
wasn't that the
nothing else.
name of our freaking guild in Destiny? The Zest Squad or something like that?
There was the Zest Guides.
Zest Guides. That has a completely different meaning now in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't played in a while. I think it's finally wrapping up, though. I saw something that's like the last whatever. I was like, oh, yeah, finally. I'm going to come out with something new. It's new Destiny related stuff, but a whole different world.
I
Who
no, I
knows?
wanted to get back into it, but like it was so confusing what they did to the story when we tried to play with Tone. So I was just like,
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I used to just have to do this to send this out. But then it was like, okay, I guess not.
yeah.
So,
But yeah, your flavor this week?
I might have to get some flavors out of Jujutsu.
Ooh.
Chapter, you did 257, 258, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm caught
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, my boy Yuji, he didn't crack the Luffy code. No training, but gets all the good stuff. Yeah. That's the boy.
My man is it.
Yeah, he works at Luffy now.
Just out of nowhere. He was probably the weakest person in this fight, and so now like the only person that can take him down.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. That's definitely different. He just I was like, all right, my boy could just do that now. Must be nice.
Isn't that like kind of the worst though? Just like no explanation, just like yeah, he can do this. It's for convenience. Don't worry about it.
I mean, the way they explained it, it makes sense because I'm like, okay, if his body's that adaptable and like that, he can pick stuff up. I'm like, okay, I give it to him.
He was
But
always like abnormally strong, right?
yeah, and picking up stuff quick. But yeah, he like Luffy adjacent. Yeah, at least he did do some training, they say.
You finna stop coming from my boy, dog.
I'm just calling how I see it, dog. I'm like, dang, how you managed to do that? That's something Luffy would do when he fought the little leopard guy. But they get their little leopard rematch this week or past week or sometime. I don't know.
Oh yeah, in the anime, him fighting Rob Lucci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, UG whoop whooping ass and taking names. Yeah. I ain't
It was
mad
a good
though.
chapter.
Yeah.
There was a good two chapters.
Yeah, good 2 ones. But yeah, your flavor.
My flavor is coming out of kaiju just because it's the only thing that like I can immediately remember stood out to me. I have some webtoons, but like it's hard. I hate picking webtoons as a flavor because I have to like explain the story a little bit to even get my point across.
You don't have to explain.
Nah, I guess you're
You,
right.
you just say it, and then we'd be like, "Oh, that does sound nice."
Well, kaiju was funny as hell because dude had to pee and like ended up peeing out of his nipples.
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of funny."
That's I was just like that's really fucking gross.
I was like, "Oh, okay, that's where it comes out." Kaiju's are weird.
Kaijus are weird.
Yeah, yeah, and I wonder now that maybe wonder if kaiju comes in uh the two genders, female or male, and I'm like, maybe the women did they pee out their nipples? Like, where do they feed the children?
I was gonna say if all kaiju. Well, first of all, I don't think there are kaiju children 2 feet.
We know nothing. This is like the second episode.
You're right. I'm just speculating here.
I'm just like, do they have udders like cows? Like, I don't know. Because that big monster didn't have any udders. And or are there only just male kaijus? Like, how do they reproduce? Are they made a lot out of like other kaiju's essence, or are they just made out of humans that turn to kaijus?
All
How do
valid
they even come
questions.
along? Cause I was reading a book and how they make one of these type of monsters is they make them out of like humans' remains,
Hmm.
and they have to put a little special metal in them, and then the code laws is what they call them, and they put a little metal in them, and that's how they make them.
Well, the interesting thing about Homeboy is that he, the kaiju that turned him was specifically looking for it. It just had like found you and then went into his mouth.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, definitely, you know, looking to see where it goes to from there.
Me as well. So, what are we gonna
Who
get into
knows?
first?
It's a dealer's pick.
All right,
You
touche.
pick because
I guess since we're talking about kaiju, we can go. Actually, kaiju had the better episode. Let's talk about Berserk of Gluttony. So,
whatever you deem relevant, big guy.
sleep would be relevant right now for me.
Mm, that's a non sequitur.
So, episode 3, Roxy's inspection. This episode starts off with Roxy sneaking out the palace. She gets caught by Faye, and that's when she concocts this idea of him to go with her. So they were kind of like on a pseudo date, but it turned out during the date. Well, I was about to skip a lot of noteworthy stuff, and then you would have to fill it in. So like a couple things were, the sword was, gluttony was, no, he's gluttony. Greed was talking to him about like youth and things like that, and like Faye kept telling him to shut up, but like she kept hearing it, so she thought he was talking to her, and that she was being annoying. Which for someone who like is the leader's thing, it's kind of like a very timid response. Like I thought she'd be a little more commanding, like she is when she's in night form. So like you can kind of like almost start drawing the conclusions that like she probably does have a thing for Faye, and you can tell by the blushing on Fate's face that like he finds her attractive. So
Yeah.
like they're going through Mars. They tried blueberry. It was free. It was delicious, and they were walking around. And I'm sorry, grapes. They tried grapes, and it was delicious. And they're walking around, and like the the knights were bullying some kid, and they went to they were gonna inter. Oh, I might have one ahead of myself. The knights
You,
came up again. Yep, wrong spot with the knights.
you jumped ahead some.
I jumped to like towards the end. So like the first interaction with the Holy Knight was the red hair guy, and like everyone parted ways, and Faye's stomach growled due to gluttony, and dude wasn't happy about that, and that's when they put on the husband and wife act or lovers act to get out of the situation. They dipped into an alley and came across a jeweler who was selling jewels, and he was also selling ore, which you might, if you're lucky, you could get a jewel out of it. So Faye can see which one to win her with his what do you call the skill, inspection or something like that?
Identify skill.
Yeah, the identify skill. and she ended up not getting the jewel, even though like she really liked it. She's a girl and blah blah blah. They end up going to the place where Fate used to eat and get the meals on the cheap, and that's where like first of all he thought like Fate was dead or whatever, but like he ended up being alive. So they had a nice little reunion, and Roxy got introduced to them as his girlfriend, and um, that's when some adventurers came in, and she actually started conducting her investigation. Turned out she was investigating the
She actually started investigating earlier.
no, well, yeah, the
Yeah.
but like it was the investigation was the trip, but this was the. Or are you saying she was investigating
The
the bartender guy?
no, she what had happened was like the whole reason for the trip, she when they were in the marketplace, she overheard the people talking about there was people think there's a monster coming down, and she's like, Fate, take me to where adventurers meet. And that's when,
And that's how they ended up at the bar. You're right.
yeah, because she was like, oh, I was looking for leads on this monster's coming down, and she overheard, and that's how they got to the bar. And then, but that's how he knew like she was looking for stuff, and he was like, oh man, they're gonna be looking. I was the one that did that. So yeah, and then when she got to the bar, she learned what she needed to learn about the investigation.
Yeah, and then Fate learned that she's investigating him. Well, he learned that earlier, I think.
He did. He was like, "Oh, it's me. I'm the one causing all the trouble."
So after a fuss at the bar, she had them settle down. They were chilling, having fun, arm wrestling, and like they had a nice time there. Then they come across. They're walking outside, and they come across more holy knights who were bullying a kid. The kid ended up being lost and couldn't find his mom, and they were walking all the rest of the day with him. They fed him, and you know they couldn't find his mom at all, and he was getting sad and told him like, "Hey, we'll bring you home. We can try again tomorrow." And then that's when his mom showed up. Now, I know this lady isn't important, but like all she did was bow to them and then walk away. It was like, bro, like shouldn't you be a little more grateful that nothing happened to your kid?
Yeah, I mean, they were just lowly travelers that happened to pick up your child.
Yeah, that's when she was looking at the family all happy, and like Fate was noticing her like her face, and like he was blushing and thought she looked really good. They went back to the estate, and they both got reamed out by the head maid. Um, he gave like the old dude a back scrub and the public bath or whatever bathhouse they have, and Greed gave him the idea of putting on a mask to not be caught as the monster they're hunting. And the mask hides like I think it hides the magic or something like that. He says
The mask is magical and it distorts his face.
yes, which it's a mask, so wouldn't it distort his face anyway?
It you would it's one of those properties where like it would look like him to us because we're like third party watching it, but once he puts it on, like it'd be like essentially put like my face on your body.
I'm framing you for everything.
Yeah, too bad I keep my receipts.
Oh,
So I have an alibi to everywhere.
one more time. So he gets the mask, and then he notices the jeweler, and he uses identify to get a winner for the cheap. Gives it to Roxy, telling her to thank you for the new job and the warm meals, and because now he has friends and people he considers family. Obviously, she opened it, and Jules came out. It was a winner chicken dinner, and that was our episode.
Yeah. So let me go back over everything you muddled up. Uh,
How dare you?
yeah, I thought it was funny. She had her code name of Lexi. they came up with that little moniker for her to use.
Wait, why'd you think that was funny?
It was just funny because it was like essentially like Roxy with an L, Lexi, Roxy, similar
Lexi,
sounding.
Roxy.
Yeah. And then yeah, I thought the whole exchange of how he's talking with the sword, he had that whole brief moment of like, oh, she might tell about my gluttoning skill once she picks up the sword, but she couldn't. And she gets the sword. She's like, yeah, you use some maintenance. Yeah, and she almost gave herself away a bunch of times. The sword helped him out, covers up a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, yeah, the sword, it's not a bad sword. Yeah, and Roxy stepped in to stop the night. He's like, yeah, he already apologized. So, yeah, let that go. And then she's like, I never locked arms with a boy before. Roxy Knight. And the whole thing of how he had the whole flashback of how he went when he was just like the boy, and he's like, whatever happened to the whole night helped you? I was like, bro, you're looking at her. It's Roxy. She had short hair, my guy. like, come on.
Nah, it might have been her mom or something.
I think it was her. She looked young there too.
I was gonna say because like him and Roxy seemed like they were around the same age.
But yeah, also he could have just well, women they grow faster than the males do, um, in general. So like after he had started to get some food, he probably sprouted up. So she could have looked older in that instance, but they could have been close to the same age. He caught a growth spurt. I was like, how you not know that's Roxy, dog?
He stupid.
As for right
I
now, I
thought so
think that's
too. Like I'm not
yeah.
gonna
For
I'm not
right
gonna
now, I'll
pretend
go
I
with that.
didn't think that.
Yeah, for right now, I'm gonna go with that's Roxy till I'm disproven.
Okay. I feel like we're gonna
Yeah,
walk around the estate and just see a picture of her mom.
we gonna have to see. But yeah, yeah, the Roman monsters, they called it a lich. They think because they're trying to say it's monsters coming down killing up all the goblins and they're trying to figure it out because they're like, oh, if that's a monster, why would the orphanage get a whole thing of like king goblin ears to sell? And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, yeah. And Roxy wasn't part of the hunt for the monster because the the Vlaric family, they didn't inform her just because they didn't want her there. But I also thought it was cool that Fate squeezed that guy that nice wrist with like ease, and then the guy's like, and then he's like, oh, I can't let a lowly peasant look like they hurt me. He's like, so, um, but yeah, I I thought his powers reset though, but I'm like, man, he must still be strong enough to do that to somebody. But yeah.
Now that you mentioned
Oh.
it, it does kind of seem odd that he was able to do that, right?
Yeah, he just was like,
Because Greed said he had to give him all the stats.
yeah. So I'm like,
You make a fair
yeah.
point, Irby. You make a fair point.
So I was like, I don't know, it's weird. But and at the same hand time, he's like, oh, you can't go against Holy Knights, you'll lose for sure. So it's just like, it his power reset back to like the baseline that he had for his stats before? Like, I don't know. Or is it just like he got the stats but was able to keep the stats like with the level that they were on, but Greed got the stats. I have no idea. So we'll see. But yeah, all right. Move on to Classroom of the Elite, Season 3. I think it's what, episode 11? Change your desires rather than the order of the world. So this starts off with my boy.
Wait, it's in
Mm,
it's episode 12, right?
yeah, 12, 11, one of the two.
This is shit. Did I watch the wrong episode?
She might have.
What happens in the episode you're about to talk about?
Oh, I was going to talk about it before I got so rudely interrupted.
My apologies. Continue.
Yeah, it's episode 12. Change your desires rather than the world. And in this episode, Manobu Horekita he's given a very inspiring speech, and since he's like the graduating class, he gives all the stuff. Yeah, go forth and do this and la di da. The usual spiel. And so then we get to the last exam studies of the year, and they got demoted. They're back to Class D, which I'm like, dang. But their class has gained the most points out of all the classes, which I feel like I feel like they weren't like demoted based on. There's some other reason for demotion. I feel like because it couldn't just be because if you get more points than other folks, ain't no way you're supposed to be going back in class. But I digress. And
But what's
so
weird is, okay, so they got demoted. It had to be like a direct involvement of like the games they just played. But it's not like class. Oh, they lost to class A, so they went down, and class D beat class B, so they went up. But no one else, like D couldn't go straight to B, and C had to go down to D. So I think B stood exactly where it was. That's how I'm making that work in my head. That's what I'm going with.
yeah, um, that only makes sense if the only criteria for the class grading system was that's a specific exam. But other than that, there's no way they should have lost. So so then we get to Ichinose. She lost to Ryuin, and she explains it and how he had set up like a judo match, and he just psychological warfare just beat her. And she didn't. She failed to like. She couldn't decide who to pick a contestant. And at first, I thought um, she forfeited because she didn't make a decision in a timely manner. But that gets explained later. So
I thought
their
the same thing
lines,
too. I thought she got
yeah,
timed and like, yeah.
yeah. I was like, oh, she timed out. She couldn't make a fast enough decisions because she was like, ugh. But so they dissolved their alliance with Class B to help them out. And Ayana Koji asks Suzune if she's gonna go see her brother. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna go see him. Not as I am now. He says, I thought you would have got a little bit more courage now. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go see your brother. But but first I should do what I got to do. And I was like, oh, okay, what does he have to do? So he's looking for someone to sponsor him for like the school and some other stuff. And just Mr. Mashima. And so he's talking with them. He's like, yeah, have you thought about life after school? And he was like, you came to school because you wanted a somewhat normal life. So I think he wanted to go to school because he'd be able to blend in and be able to like fly above or like at the level which he's genius like, but not so much. Like you can tell that he just been holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's yeah, yeah, because that's seemed to be a common theme. It's like, yeah, have you given an idea what you want to be? And Ayana Koji's like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to whence I came from and probably become an instructor. It's like, yeah, these are my only 3 normal years I'll have, so I'm protecting them. So I think we'll have at least 2 more seasons of this because this is his first year. So I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
Well,
But
the
then,
first year took 3 seasons, but like you can't go off by that logic. It's probably gonna like speed up next year. So you're probably right. Maybe 3 seasons.
no, I said at least two,
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah.
at least two, especially if they're only 13 episodes. Which
Hmm.
you could do that. So I was like, yeah, at least two. Um, I wouldn't say three seasons for things. So I was like, yeah, at least two. Um, because you do the next year that could fly by, and then the year that could fly by. So it'd be nice for at least two. So, But yeah,
So you figure he's gotta fight Class A girl again. He's gotta fight the new principal, and then I think he's gonna end up going against his dad. I'm thinking three seasons.
I'm thinking at least minimum two.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
right.
yeah, minimum two. I don't think they're gonna give a whole a whole 3 seasons for year two. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they did, but yeah, the anime landscape. And they might even be able to do a spinoff where it's like instructor of the elite, which would be nice.
He's just owning a bunch of kids.
Yeah, that'd be funny. So so then they set up a meeting with Sakanagi and his two teachers, and we found out that Tsukihiro orchestrated pretty much all of the stuff. Like the exam was set up by him, and he did everything, which I think we knew that already earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that the one teacher, she didn't time out. He just was like, "Don't even do it, because whoever you put in there is going to be seriously harmed." And he was like, "Yeah, I got." He's like, "Yeah, I had to do my teacherly charms so that no one would be hurt." And I'm like, "Yeah, you right, because he was a world class judo guy. He would have been messing everyone up."
There's only one person in that school that could have handled him.
Yeah, and he was in another class. Yeah, and he took a pay cut for interfering. And I was like, oh yeah, he really loves the kids. So yeah, so the meeting concludes, and other teacher's like, yeah, just like I don't know if we should be throwing a lot in with him. Like more assassins will be after him. I'm like, assassins? Who's trying to assassinate him? They're just trying to get him to go back. You don't want to go back. And so Ayana Koji tells Suzune to talk to her brother, but she's like, no, I'm not going to again. And then he meets with Horikita and Manubu Horikita, the brother. And he's like, yeah, can you get Suzune to meet before she leaves? And that was his little request. And he essentially was like, yeah, I'll see what I could do. So it goes on, and they meet again before he leaves. And he asks, why do you hide your abilities? And he's like, yeah, I don't stand out because, that's what the smart people do or whatever. And he gives like these like answers that aren't quite satisfactory for him. It's like, you have the talents. She's like, don't you? You should leave a mark on those that you come in contact with, and use your strengths to do good and whatever, and leave a mark on the other kids. And so another spiel like, hey, you're good, you're great, be great, do great. And then so there's a whole scene of Horikita. She's talking about herself, and she's like, "Yeah, this, that, and the other." And she's like, I'm happy with the way I am, and I am happy, and thanks." And then like she looks at a cup with like scissors and her toothbrush, and I was like, "Who keeps a toothbrush and scissors together?" That's a weird combination, which is relevant because it comes up just in a moment.
I had a feeling that was gonna happen as soon as I saw the scissors.
Yeah. So he goes to leave the school grounds, and Shizune runs up and meets him, and she's like, "Brother!" And they do a pan up, and she's cut her hair off to her shoulders.
They don't look bad.
Yeah, it doesn't. And so it was like, oh, see, you went back to your old self. We start talking, have a little touching moment, and he's like, oh, have you grown up and you changed and you did this, that, and the other, and la da da, and the heart touching, all the stuff that she needed to hear about what she needed to do. And then he's like, yeah, I'm sorry for lying to you, because he's like, I I don't didn't really like long hair. I like the short hair. And so it's like, yeah, I just did it to see if you would change, but you went back to yourself. So that's good. It's like you have grown up. I was like, yeah. she's back to her old ways. So hopefully she's grown. I'm excited for the next episode.
I'm
Can't wait.
excited for the season finale.
I can't wait to be watching it. So, but yeah, uh, I Hannah Koji, genius.
The most genius of the genius.
Other than Itachi,
I don't
he's
know, man. You take away the jutsus and the fire. Well, no, I only got some hands. You take away the jutsus.
Itachi got hands.
Itachi does have hands. So I'm just saying. You make Ayano Koji older, like Itachi's age, because Itachi was a fucking genius, like a
They
prodigy as well.
they're like the same age.
I don't think they're the same
Nah,
age.
they're like he might be like 4 years older.
Itachi?
Yeah, Itachi's only like 19, bro.
And like Shippuden?
Yeah,
Nah, there's no way.
yeah, he's not that old. Might be 21 at the most.
Bro, hold on. Look this up. Where's Google? Hold on.
Yeah, I'll look it up because he's not that old.
I'm also looking it up. There's no way he's like 21 in Shippuden.
Yeah, he's not that old. I'm telling you, dog.
For the duration of part one, Itachi is between 17 and 18 years old, while in part two, he's 21. Yo, like, how
Yeah,
old was he when
just
he massacred everyone?
he was 13, 14.
But he looked
He
like a grown ass man, bro.
well, that's all the sadness that he endured in his lifetime.
Sadness made him age?
It does.
Bro,
It
that
makes
is
you age.
wild.
Yeah, because Kakashi was only like 24, 25 during the Ninja Wars.
I knew that. Oh, wait, you mean during the Great Ninja War in Shippuden?
Yeah,
Kakashi with the two Sharingans.
yeah, he wasn't that old.
24, 25.
Yeah,
Bro, what the fuck is this
or he,
timeline?
or he might be 26.
How?
And because I think because Kakashi was Ambu when he was like 16, 17, and Itachi was like 4 years younger than he was.
But Kakashi looked like a kid, though. No, he didn't. But he still looked. Oh, man, I'm so confused.
Yeah,
Whatever, it's not important. All right, okay. Damn, bro, that's wild.
yeah, yeah. They're roughly the few more years, and yeah. So I think
I am curious though. Like, if you take away the jutsus, who's got the edge?
I don't
I
know,
don't feel like
bro.
Ayano Koji's shots are like that far out.
I mean, shoot. Yeah, I mean, also, yeah, I mean, they're also dealing with like different stuff. Because I feel like Itachi's wartime's different than Anna Koji's peacetime stuff. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they grew up in like two different ages. And the technology be different. So, but yeah, I like to see Anna Koji and play shogi.
He'd probably
See
be
how that
great at
goes
shogi.
down. Yeah,
Him against Shikamaru.
yeah, that'd be a good matchup. Yeah,
Yeah, I would watch that crossover.
yeah, it's never gonna happen though.
Shikamaru versus Ayano Koji and Shogun.
Yeah, it'd be great though. But yeah, I digress. We'll continue on with that.
Yes, we will. At some point. All right, so Kaiju episode 2, the Kaiju number 8. I'm sorry. Kaiju number 8 episode 2, the Kaiju who defeats Kaiju. So we start off the episode, a little recap of like how homie turned into
Africa,
Afka turned into, he's got such a weird name. I knew it like
which is why you should remember.
I knew it like 2 minutes ago, I swear.
I don't know. You've been slacking on the whole night.
Bruh.
Well, my back hurt from carrying this episode.
Well, it should be strong for next time.
Nah, I ain't gonna get much stronger. Cause
Stronger,
that that
better,
that, that don't
faster.
kill me.
Oh, we both were going to.
But yeah,
Just
nah,
different
it's
chords.
yeah. Continue
All right,
with
so
what's
like
on the menu
after the recap,
and
you start
my
off the
Captain
episode
give
with
you. Uh,
Kafka saying something to Homegirl like "I'll always protect you" or something along the lines. It was cheeky, like if you're ever in trouble,
little
I'll be there.
cheesy to
And then
Ashiro.
she was always she was cracking up and it was like, hey, you read too much manga, but like, thanks. And I'll if we're together, there's nothing to be afraid of. So and then you show her again, and she got the yo. That's a beautiful white tiger. Um, you see her again, and like there, she's informed of the kaiju in the hospital, and it's like it's getting there before it hurts anyone. The government's talking about kaiju number
Shogunate.
8, and like the old man who called them is like screaming, and they're screaming, and he's like, give him a smile, senpai, to show him it's a misunderstanding. So he like does the whole peekaboo thing and like puts on a terrifying face that like makes the guy just drop dead into the fetal position. And he's like, hey, Gramps, you okay? And like he didn't know his own strength, so he broke the entire freaking wall. And after he broke the wall, people came out being nosy. He's like, I'm totally like a kaiju. He's like, is everything all right? Like, everything's okay. I'm like, huh? A kaiju's? Oh no, that's right. I'm a kaiju. Uh, cat is trying to enter. Cat may enter. So he's like, let's escape through the window. He tries to slide the thing open. He destroyed that whole wall. And he goes, should have seen that coming. He's like, what? So they jump out. I'm more surprised that Ichikawa jumped out the window.
Oh, you remember that name?
I just remembered it as I was trying to say it.
Hmm.
But like he landed somewhere safely, and like Kafka went flying. So they're running, and like dude was like part octopus. Something was going on with his head. He had like another body part coming out with like just straight ghost faces leaking out. I don't know what the hell was going on with him.
Yeah, I think it was becoming other parts of the other kaiju.
Then
I
his
feel like he can shake shift.
and then his tongue came out and ate a bird.
He
He's
was
like,
hungry.
"Look, Ichikawa, I'm eating a bird alive." He's like, "That's really disgusting. Please stop." And then he transformed back. Um, so then that's when my flavor comes up. He's like, "I got trouble. I gotta pee." And he's like, "Now hold it in." And he's like, "Well, no. I think my body's gonna piss on its own. I can't hold it." And he's like, Ichikawa's like, well, I'm noticing a problem here. I don't see anything for you to piss with. So how are you gonna do it? And it just leaks out his nipples. And he starts running in slow motion with piss coming out his nipples. And they both are in shock, and he stops. And he's like, no one will ever take me as a bride. I'll just die here.
Yeah.
Kafka's funny. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. It almost makes it worth watching.
Almost. Is it not worth watching?
No, it is.
Uh, Better than One Piece?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No hesitation. I would watch this over One Piece any day.
So Kafka is
Twice on
like,
Sundays.
Kafka is like, what happens to me now? You think they're gonna let me join the defense force? He's like, no, 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 no. They'll kill you on sight. There's no, they're defending you. They're defending people from you. He's like, yeah, I figured. Oh shit, what am I gonna do? And then he like thinks back to Homegirl's smile, and he's like, oh man, what can I do with this body? That's when he senses another kaiju. So they go running, but like he couldn't help it. There was a family trouble. Kid was trying to take his mom under rubble. It almost looked um like reminiscent of the first episode of Attack on Titan when Eren was trying to save his mom and the Titan showed up.
Maybe that was an homage to it.
Yeah, that was probably like the inspiration. It almost looks exactly like that, honestly. So
She was
the
more covered up though. The kaiju
yeah, I think the
episode.
mom's her legs was just broken or something like that in Attack on Titan.
Yeah, on Attack on Titan, it landed on like her lower half, and this one, like the whole thing, like crushed her whole upper body.
Yeah, but she was fine under it. She just couldn't move. So the kaiju was about to eat both of them, and Homeboy came in with a freaking left hook and sent the kaiju flying.
You mean One Punch Man came in?
Yo, no, because he didn't kill it in one punch.
Well, One Punch Man turns into like Two Punch Man. Later on, when the villains get stronger,
I'm not that far. Did you read it?
I've seen some episodes where you had to do more than one punch.
Yeah, he did have to do one more to one punch. The thing right now is that like he hasn't used more than a serious punch, which is I don't know if that's true, but I mean more episodes should be coming out soon. But so he punches the thing across town and tries to make the kid feel better and does a face and like scares the kid to freaking death. And that's when they decided like you should go. So he lifts up the thing off the mom and like starts to go away, and the kid finally got the courage to say like thank you. Um, and that's when he said like you guys should go. And it's like what are you gonna do? I'm gonna try to punch this thing as hard as I can. And his fist charged up with lightning, and he cocked back, and like the kaiju went to like eat him, which he missed, and like he just punched him in the face, and he blew the thing completely up and made it rain blood. Which, in hindsight, good for you. But considering what happens moments later, not too long later, which I'll talk about, you kind of just gave yourself the shitty end of the stick.
Ow.
But I spoke a little ahead. This is where the girl thanks Kafka, and like he remembered his time with Homegirl in the past, and he decides he is gonna be on the defense force, and like his face comes out from the kaiju body. Homegirl shows up and they're inspecting people, and she's talking to the little girl. It's like, hey, I'm gonna wipe all the kaiju. And she's like, really? Oh, could you not kill the good one that saved me? And that's when she was surprised. And then on the news, I think they said a month has passed, or 2 or 3 months have passed, and
Yeah, it was like three.
yeah, they labeled it Kaiju number 8, and it's the only one that's ever escaped the defense force. Um, Kafka went to work early. Ichikawa got the results to the first part of the exam, and he went to take Kafka his result, and Kafka was eating in kaiju form like an idiot. And he's like, "What are you doing? You're exposing yourself." So then he like tries to turn back, but like his teeth is still like now his teeth look like Baraka's teeth from Mortal Kombat. And
Otto went with Venom.
oh,
Venom's
I guess
teeth.
Venom works too.
Yeah.
Ichikawa gives him his results, and he's like, "Oh, cool, I passed." And he's like, "I thought you'd be happier." It's like, it's the second round where I always fail. It's like, oh, is that all? that
Second round.
he's still on cleanup duty, but like he's ready for the second round test. Hey. He couldn't open the container, and then he went like full kaiju and destroyed the thing. And like Ichikawa was like, "Nah, you're on your own, 100%." And Kafka's like, "Don't abandon me."
You're abandoned.
So they show up to the venue where the second test is going to take place, and like they're taking in the scenery, and you're getting to see the people that I guess we'll be seeing more of later on, because that's how these always go. And some girl shows up. She's like, "Move your car, old man, because like I need to put my car there." And he's like, "Old? I'm old? Is that old? I'm in my 30s. That makes you old." And he's like, "It does." And each car was like, "Yeah, you're old." And that's when homegirl is like, "If you don't move it, I will. 55 is my lucky number, so my car has to be there." And she whips out her. She starts like taking off her thing, and he's like, "In public, you shouldn't." He covers his eyes, but then spreads his fingers so that he can see. Which she looks younger to him, so like, be careful, man. I don't know how young she is, but to me, I thought she was like a kid. She reveals her suit, and then like she proceeds to lift the truck up, which is a company car, and then she just chucks it. I'm like, oh, this girl's a bitch.
Like I was looking at, I was like, you couldn't have like just
Placed it
placed
down,
it down
yeah.
somewhere else, like shifted over to the spot next to it. Like, really? That's what you had to do?
And then she introduced herself as Examiner 2016, Kikaru Shinomiya, and her hobby is murdering kaiju. But I'm like, damn, girl, you didn't have to like throw the van if you had the strength to lift it up like that. You could have even lifted up.
She lifted it above her head and just was like, "Oh, I'll
Yeah,
throw it over there." Like, bro, like that made me mad.
it was so uncalled for.
I was like, you couldn't have just set the car down. Like you had to do that.
It was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I was like, man, get a load of this bloke right here.
I'm glad we're on the same page on that. But that was the episode.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, man, but yeah, did a good job there.
Did I? I was kind of like going through it um, in 10
Not
second
much for me to go back.
interviews.
Yeah, not much for me to go back on.
But is there stuff to go back on?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's continue with this. Do a little bit of Jujutsu Kaiosen. So essentially, that Yuji is Yuji's Kenjaku's child, and essentially it's a vessel as well, and he has the potential to equal Sukuna, and he has two curse techniques as of right now: Malevolent Shrine and Wombs 4 to 9, the blood manipulation arts. And then they get to fighting a bunch of black flashes. I think he hit him with like 7 black flashes. It's bow, bow. Just hit him back and forth, fighting. Like, ooh, get it, boy. And that was 257. 258, Gojo. He had some ideas from like a circuit for like doing the black flash stuff. Like how to harness it. Not really sure. Um, But we found out that all those black flashes Yuji was doing was separating the boundary between Megami and Sukuna. So essentially, one would take that as they're no longer becoming one or staying one. They're able to split. And then we find out Yuji's Luffy-like secret that the reason why Yuji was so strong and could do what he did was because he had shared part of Sukuna's body, and it was like muscle memory for Yuji, so he was able to like remember what he did and how he did it, and that made essentially made it easy for him. So they devised a training method where the one sorcerer is able to uh, swap souls and bodies, and it gives a elaborate um, elaborate explanation of it. So it's like he can swap the it's like looking at presents and swapping them and this, that, and the other. And yeah. So um so yeah, he does that, and they fight with Sukuna, and Yuji has to hold out for like 99 seconds, and then all of a sudden he holds out, And then Sugita launches a new attack. I was like, damn. Divine Flame.
My man. Well, like, it has to also have something to do with like him. Like Yuji's body is still the body to consume the fingers, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like I feel like that has something to do with it.
Yeah. He was able to do that because he was the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
He housed the vessel to do that because he was Yuji the man with the plan.
UGLY.
You ain't got no alibi.
You ugly.
But yeah, my man, Yuji Itadori.
OP Tadoria.
Nah, that's Loof, the Loof Master.
Mm-hmm. Loof Master.
Loof Master Flex. So yeah. Well, yeah, that concludes what I was doing for Jujutsu.
All right. You got anything else worth talking about?
Nope. Nothing worth talking about.
Neither do I.
Go ahead and wrap this bad boy on up then.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. You know where we're going to be. Peace.
Peace.